Green infrastructure. That's not new. I've been teaching that for 30 years. I've been teaching ecosystem services for my students. So said a very cross elderly professor about 10 years ago. So what I want to talk to you today is about 3 case studies where we have worked with businesses to deliver the business case. And I'm going to talk in the language that businesses understand. And I think it's very useful to use the term natural capital and green infrastructure planning. So who are we? I'm from the Mersey Forest. We're based in North Cheshire and Merseyside, and we've been established since 1991. So we cover 525 square miles with 1.7 million people. We were set up as a regeneration organisation, and our plan is embedded within the NPPF, so it does have teeth. It is a material consideration, and so therefore we're able to then translate that down into local plans and into practice, working with our local authority partners. So our strapline is more from trees. So you're getting the idea of an ecosystem service approach. But we do it in language that people can understand. And as Kenton and Oliver said originally, where people live, the urban areas, are where the benefits are felt most. And interestingly enough, when I first came across the Mersey Forest, I was working in private sector for the first 12 years of my career. The urban areas, such as the centre of Liverpool and the cities, were excluded from community forests. That soon was rectified. And so we worked together in areas of high dense population. So this is the first of my case studies. It's Wirral Waters, so that's just across the water, the River Mersey from Liverpool. You can see there. So for those of you who are not from north of Watford, just a bit of an illustration. So this is the Wirral, Liverpool on the other side. The population in Birkenhead and around grew very rapidly in the 1800s. It grew tenfold. So we went from a population of just over 1,000 to 110,000 in 100 years. And I don't know if you know, but the first public park for health benefits was Birkenhead Park because of the dire health of the population around Birkenhead. It's famous for shipbuilding. We had a great industry of shipbuilding, and then it dropped considerably, and it's on the rise again. So Camel Laird will probably be familiar to many of you. This is some mapping that we did, green infrastructure mapping. And all the areas that are green and red show green infrastructure. The red is the urban areas, the private gardens. So we in our mapping of green infrastructure, we include private gardens as a really important component of green infrastructure, which is absolutely critical when we're working in urban areas. So I want to draw your attention to this arrow on the map here. There is a 14-year life expectancy difference between this side of the arrow and that side of the arrow. 14 years. That's about a kilometre a year. So the area on the right has very, very poor health statistics. The area on the left is where the Liverpool footballers used to live. So with the decline of the shipbuilding industry, one of Britain's largest developers, Peel, was interested and has started to develop the area around the old docks, the old quays. And this isn't an instant job. This is one of Britain's biggest regeneration projects, and it's going on for the next 30 years with the intention of creating 20,000 new jobs, 14,000 new homes. And this is just part of a wider regeneration of the area. Peel is not a small organisation. If you're from the north of England, you will know how important Peel is as a landowner. They own huge tracts of land, including the Manchester Ship Canal. They used to own the Trafford Centre, John Lennon Airport, massive areas of land, as well as areas with wind farms on. They're a really, really big business. They are not a soft, cuddly organisation. They need to have the facts, and then they take note of the facts and they act. So the whole area that we were working in really had a need for regeneration. You can see just some of the photographs here. So the usual areas that we tend to concentrate in, areas of high unemployment, lots of derelict land, and an ageing population. So we started work on this particular project with Peel a few years ago now, and we are a community forest. Without the community, we don't exist. And so we spent a lot of our time talking to members of the community about how we can deliver green infrastructure interventions in their locality. We don't necessarily talk to members of the public about green infrastructure. We might brand it as that, but we talk to them about things that they really understand. We talk to them about street trees, about verges, about new parks, about managing what existing green infrastructure, natural capital there is. And as a result of the programme, which went on for a number of years, we managed to bring in considerable investment working with Peel. So we brought in £2.7 million from Regional Development Agency funding. We used Section 106 funding, local sustainable transport funds, European funding. So we had a package of funding measures that we brought together to deliver just over 1,200 new street trees, developed a brand new park, improving what was originally a derelict piece of land. The pub next door was known as the Bloodbath. It wasn't a particularly easy area to work in, but through the work with the landowner, with the local authority, and particularly with the community, there's been very, very little amount of vandalism to the trees that were put in. And this is something that has a very large economic cost, as people will know, but something that we work with the community to try and avoid, for them to have complete ownership of it. And a big part of it was around improving access to jobs. So we had over 22 kilometres of roads improved. It's all very well me saying about this, but what did the businesses feel? Well, unsurprisingly, I should say, they were delighted. And 85% of them had said that they'd seen a direct improvement in their area. Rates of cycling to work increased, rates of walking to work increased too. I'm going to move down into Cheshire a bit, and this is, people might have heard of Cheshire. I think it's a very nice, attractive landscape. There's a bit of a story behind it. So we have Northwich. It's got 20,000 residents in a town. And we work very closely with the business improvement district. So my next case study is about how we sold the concept of improving the green infrastructure in their town to the business improvement district. A lot of Northwich is made up of green, but also a lot of blue infrastructure, and it looks lovely there, really nice. But it does suffer very much from flooding. It's at the confluence of two rivers, the River Dane and the River Weaver, and the town centre floods very, very frequently. So next to the town of Northwich is the largest area of publicly accessible green space, we think, near any town in England. It's 1,000 acres of just literally on the doorstep of the town. And the reason it's there is because of this. So underneath Northwich, huge deposits of salt. And in the 19th century, the landowners and the salt industry became very greedy. And they started to use brine to extract. They started to flush the area with water to extract the salt because it has a really good commercial value. But as they flushed the area underneath with salt, the land sunk. And it didn't sink all over, it sank in areas. So for many, many years, the area of Northwich was not able to be invested in. So the town started to decline. Along came the chemical industry, huge amounts of chemical waste, that went onto the land. So as a result of the chemical industry and the salt industry, It was a large area of land that could not be built upon, but as over time being developed from a big area of derelict land into a fantastic asset to the town of Northwich. And you can see here a road, there's photographs of the town where suddenly the shops just disappear into the ground. They're all built on timber frames so they can be jacked up. There's some really interesting photographs, but it does illustrate this instability of the land, and it wasn't suitable for further investment. There has been some stabilisation process undertaken, and so the town is now on its up again. There's a lot of new investment. So there was a business improvement district created. So I don't know if you're aware of how it works, but there's a levy that's charged on the rateable value so that the businesses, first of all, have to agree to become a business improvement district. And then the money that's raised through this levy goes to deliver projects in the town centre. And one of the projects that was put forward in the prospectus to the businesses was about undertaking a green infrastructure audit of the town. And I think they'd been inspired by what has gone on with the Victoria bid. So that's what we did, and we had to sell it to them. And it was really interesting hearing about shopkeepers loving street trees. We had a real problem with Northwich because they really didn't like street trees, because every month they have a farmer's market. And where are they going to put the tents if there's trees in the way? So we had some really good, interesting discussions with the shopkeepers. The lady who's the chair of the bid has her own shop, she sells curtains. So we were talking directly to the people. They didn't want, when they put their bid together, it's all about attracting places to invest. It was about increased footfall, increased spend, reduced costs. So we had to work with the businesses to put it into a language that they would understand. And this is the green infrastructure plan that we did for the bid, and some of the interventions are in there. And the top area is Northwich Woodlands, which, as I said, and it was about how we connected the town centre to the woodlands and vice versa. And there you can see an illustration of it there. Finally, so this is Liverpool, working with 2 business improvement districts in Liverpool. We did some GI mapping and looked at the green infrastructure within 2 of the business improvement districts. The city centre business improvement district, which is this area here, no green infrastructure. The commercial district had 4%, so very, very low levels of it. What we're looking to do is to link up the surrounding areas of green infrastructure and to create new green infrastructure. So we've worked to create, with the bid, to create an action plan, and with that has come the support of the businesses within the business improvement district, and that's been absolutely critical. So we're not talking about a small Cheshire town, we're talking about a bid that has 1,500 businesses, but has 100,000 employees, and is next to 40,000 houses, residents. So we've got a really important job that we can be doing. And the good thing is, not only have we now got a plan, we've got the finance to work with the bid to help to deliver it. So we heard a couple of months ago that as a result of a European Horizon 2020 bid that was submitted last year, we've got £3.4 million to work with the bid to deliver green infrastructure interventions right in the heart of Liverpool city centre. So in terms of the language, natural capital, green infrastructure planning, it has been absolutely critical for us to start to talk with businesses, to persuade them to work with us to put the money where the heart is. So.